And this is the Front Porch Political Talk Show. I want to thank everybody for joining us on this yet another random live stream on our Facebook and YouTube page.
There we are.
Here we are. We are kind of kicking off 2022 with a new plan. We're not going to try and create 3 things a week. We're going to go for 2. Here's the housekeeping bit. On Sundays, we will talk politics. On Thursdays, there's this interesting video concept of reactions, and we're going to start with music video reactions, and they're going to be fun. They're going to be interesting, but they may not be. They're definitely not going to be political.
Right.
Well, maybe.
Yeah,
we might.
It'll get there. Well,
It'll
never
get
mind.
there. So we're going to start off this year with our first political episode of the year. And Ken, you brought up this first subject, and I'm kind of it's a heavy topic. We talked about mental health.
It's a heavy topic.
It is a heavy topic, but it is one that needs to be discussed. Last time we talked about mental health, and in this case, I want this layout.
Yeah.
In this case, we talk about, like I said, a pretty heavy. Why can I not see that whole screen?
Yeah, this is actually not a Happy New Year article.
This is not a Happy New Year article. So the mental health items that we talk about, we talk about them, and it's not a case of it's just a certain, it's not military, it's not it's not veterans, it's not just it's everybody. We've in our household, we've been, anxiety is something that's been dealt with and continues to be dealt with.
Same here.
And when COVID hit, and as the worldwide response to COVID continues, or it was pushed out, it became apparent. The phrase that I heard is that not only is COVID a worldwide physical health pandemic, but it is also a worldwide mental health pandemic.
Yes.
So this is a horrifically sad tale of 2 Florida deputies. It appears that they were married, either married or a couple, that their mental health, their self-care fell by the wayside. And
well, you bring up an amazing, you may not even realize what you just said. Self-care. We're talking about deputies, police officers in general, healthcare workers. They generally care about everybody else first.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes by the time they realize that it's gotten bad in their own right, it's already too late.
Yeah. And that is something that that is, self-care is a word that I have heard a lot, just because of some travels that have happened in my family and in my work circles. Working for an HR company, that is actually something that our team, not just us, but for our clients, we're starting to promote, is doing things that are stress reducers, doing things that are not even not just fun, not just going out to a bar or something, but things like hosting a yoga group, or doing a golf tournament, or sponsoring a hike, anything to increase activity increase exposure to vitamin D and, some physical exertion, and, not make it all about the job. Right. The challenge, the challenge of any group of individuals that works together is they tend to, if they play together, their play is also tends to be, work will come up.
Right.
And so that self-care is that concept of doing things to break that cycle.
Right.
But this was Ken, you mentioned this, and this is a very, very sad story. It's an awful story. Just not only did the father, but also the mother both committed suicide within a few days of each other, and they had a 1-month-old son that now a family member will be raising. So, for all those watching, I hate, we don't like starting things on a sour note or on a sad note, but you got to take care of yourself.
Yep,
you really do. Now, the next story, actually, Ken, your son recommended it. and funny enough, guess what my father-in-law is training to be?
A carpenter.
A bus driver. I'm not even kidding. He is.
Oh, that's awesome.
He is setting up to take his New York State bus, school bus driver certification, so that he can, fill in or be a bus driver in this area.
That's awesome.
But there is a bus driver shortage.
There is.
And it's not just, I pulled up New York because that's, but
I saw an article about the same situation in Greensboro, there in North Carolina.
Every major city, every area is having bus driver shortages, and like Buffalo, I think I heard on the article for them, and this was before Christmas. They're short like 150 or 200 people. The job crunch is real.
Yep.
And it's not just one of the reasons that hospitals, for example, you hear about the bed shortage. Part of the reason there's a bed shortage is because there's a shortage of staff. And It's not just because that's, there's a sliver of a percentage of staff that doesn't want to get vaccinated. That isn't it. They've been short nurses for almost a decade. They're short, people don't want to go into these jobs.
Right.
Well,
that was one of the things that got brought up during COVID was the hospitals were being reported as at capacity. And that capacity gets turned into their full, and that's not the case.
Right. At capacity that's how many people they can they can provide service for. Yes.
I think in Florida, it might be national. In Florida at the time, it was 1 ICU nurse to 2 patients. Well, if you only got one ICU nurse on a floor, you got 2 patients in beds, you are at capacity.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's, some schools have, I love this. Some schools have had to go remote because they don't have enough bus drivers. And
crazy.
Yeah, have your kids had to do any of the remote learning?
Yes.
This year or just last year?
Not this school year.
Right.
Well,
yeah, CJ, neither is CJ. He's they have pushed hard to make sure that they stay in person.
Yeah.
Now, we did have Cinderella, the musical, queued up and ready to go in November, and CJ's in the pit band for that. And that got postponed because 3 of the leads came down with COVID. Yeah. So that's actually going to be now in the end of January. But then some I have like we didn't have the article here, but the Chicago schools. I don't know if you remember seeing that issue with the Chicago schools where half of them want to go. They want to go remote, but I again, I don't have the article up, so I forget the order of operations here, but it definitely was
Chicago's a nightmare.
An argument in providing schooling. Yeah, I'm trying to figure an easy way to segue to the next article, and I don't think I can.
There isn't one.
Things go boom. So when you hear Florida man for us up here, and I don't know if this is the case for you, for when you were in Wesley Chapel, but Florida man began any joke.
Yeah, well, yeah, and anything that was just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
Florida man refuses to mate. Florida man punches alligator after it refuses to mate, or something like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Up here right now, is it Florida or not Florida? They tell you 3 stories, and one of them's from Florida, the other 2 aren't. And I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah. But see, Ken, if you were in the news, you'd be Florida man. So.
Yeah, probably.
But in this case, there was somebody at and I'm trying to understand the context of the situation. So there was a protest in support of one of the people that was at the Capitol on January 6th. I refuse to use the language that even Fox News is using.
Right.
But apparently this guy that was at the protest was chased by police and arrested, and during the search they found a pipe bomb, and then they also found what else did they find? A direct action checklist.
Yes.
Gas mask and filters, pepper spray, smoke rockets, and flammable rags, which is oh my God.
Right.
Did you see this? Did you see this before we pulled it up?
Yes.
Do you know what this reminds me of?
A middle school project or Dungeons and Dragons. It's
an old D&D character inventory sheet. I'm sorry. It's even got the boxes. You can't make this stuff up, can you?
Oh, they sent the thief into the dragon's lair by himself. He rolled a 1. Oh. Humans are crunchy and go good with ketchup.
Yes. Oh my Lord. Wait. Did he even? I mean, he even did the small caps and did the acronym. Why? Wait, where's the K? Where's the K coming from?
And a check.
Oh, but you have an unnecessary letter in your.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
But yeah, that looks like an M80. They're calling it a pipe bomb.
Yeah. That's someone looking to do some damage, dude.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, we're having a good chuckle at his checklist, but
yes,
that was a guy that wanted to do some damage.
In all seriousness, he was definitely there to cause chaos, and I'm trying to understand why they said it's considered Antifa gear.
Well, the iron forward is a symbol and verbiage that Antifa uses.
Okay.
It was on his helmet, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Iron front.
Iron front. Okay.
and I'm not sure if that's like a battlefront, or if that's like on the old mines the army used to use was said place this towards enemy.
Oh, but place towards enemy. Okay.
I don't know if it's just so he knows how to put his shirt on or his hat.
Why do blondes put TGIF inside of their bras?
Why?
Something goes in first.
Oh yeah. Okay.
All right, I still have to pull up that list. Let me see. Where is it?
I think it's on the bottom. You gotta scroll down. Maybe not. Maybe it's on top. I don't remember. That was.
I gotta find it again. Hold on, because it was just as I scrolled down here. There we go.
He's got his clothes and his armor.
Tips: no logos. Tips: pick a helmet.
Here's the tip. Just not for nothing, but if you're going to go to a riot or a protest in Florida for the January 6th supporters, you probably don't need to go alone.
No.
Well, don't bring a hand grenade to a tank fight.
No.
It's Florida.
Oh my goodness. I Ken, I almost want to end it on this one, but we have one more article to talk about.
He's got an umbrella.
He's got an umbrella. You ready?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
This is why I love doing this video, the show video now, because we can show things like this. It's like how not to prepare for a dungeon raid. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. Protest.
He's LARPing. Either way, it's fine.
Well, I guess when you look at the gear that he had, those don't necessarily. I mean, those look like plastic water bottles.
They do.
That can be lit on fire.
But if there's got the rags in there, and that plastic will crack and won't shatter like glass, but you still got yourself a nice little fire going.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. One last serious piece. We've a few weeks ago, and this made zero headlines. Russia put its troops back on the border with Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
About 30,000 troops. Now, this also happened, was it last year or was it year before?
Year before.
Yeah. And it got a lot of press then. Yep. And then they just left, and they left all the hardware there. Well, the reason they left all the hardware there was so they would have something to come back to, so they didn't have to transport it the second time.
That's right.
Stupid. But apparently the Biden administration's response is working with Russia to have the U.S. and NATO stop doing things that worry Russia. Part of the reason that Russia put its troops on the Ukrainian border the first time and this time is because there were concerns that Ukraine, and it's not the Ukraine, it's Ukraine. Was going to join NATO.
Right.
And Russia has a problem with that.
Well, Ukraine used to be the Ukraine, and it was part of Russia, and Putin wants it back.
Yeah.
Can't have it.
No.
But I understand. And we do this too. Let's face some facts. China starts. Was it 10 years ago? China was doing something we didn't like, so 3 of our boomers simultaneously disappeared off the coast.
Yeah.
3, not 1.
Yep.
3.
Yes.
That's a whole lot of boom.
It's a whole lot of boom.
Yeah. And they stopped. They stopped doing what we didn't want them to do. So,
right.
It's hard diplomacy.
But part of it is, in China ramps up activity, in and around the South China Sea every time there's a joint training mission between the U.S. and Japan and South Korea. North Korea fails to launch about almost every year when there's the joint training with the U.S. and South Korea.
And how many? Let's be real. How many of these were you and I involved in?
How many cruises were we on? 2. 3, 4, I think.
At least.
Yeah, at least.
And every time this happens, the other side would respond. Mm-hmm. And it's just military exercises, and everybody waves and salutes, and we go on our own ways. It is what it is.
But here's the thing. This is different.
This is different.
And here's why it's different. It's not that Russia's putting its troops on the border with Ukraine, and we're going to flex and say, get off the border, and Putin's going to go, okay. No. If you look, we're not talking about doing more missile exercises or doing more. We're talking about doing less. So, discussing limits on missile deployments and troop exercises in Europe. That was on the table between the U.S. and Russia. Not Russia having, limiting their missile emplacements. Not Russia, limiting their border incursion activity. We're talking about the U.S. and NATO reducing their activity. That's where this is different. We have an administration that is willing to back down. Let me soften that a little bit. We have an administration that their initial response is to back down. And that scares me.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
It just does.
I mean, I'm all about doing what needs to get done so that Ukraine can maintain their independence. And, if dropping one military training exercise every year is what Russia wanted to leave Ukraine alone, okay. We can do that once.
Right. That's not what they're talking about.
But that Putin doesn't stop. He's not stupid. I was friends with Trump. I will own Biden.
I'm so glad we don't have sponsors. Oh, my goodness. So yeah, we start on a concern and we end on a concern, and this one is really now according to this, Blinken said the U.S. was not looking at troop levels, but they are willing to discuss things like the missile emplacements and training exercises.
No, because if you leave the troops there and you take the missiles out, then the troops have got no protection. So you can't. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, well, I think we've hit our limit for articles for this week.
Well, before we go,
I'm sure as time goes on, we'll get this format going a little bit better, and hopefully we won't have any hand-drawn character sheet inventory lists.
Or let's actually, I'm going to go the other way. Let's hope we have more. Let's hope more of these knuckleheads are getting caught and getting arrested.
Okay, I can go for that as well. I can go for that as well.
Have more then we'll have more of the giggle bout.
Yes, yes, we definitely enjoy the laughter. So,
hey, before we wrap this up, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any goals or anything? I don't say resolutions. I hate resolutions because they never last.
No.
Have you made any goals?
So one of my Christmas gifts this year, which drives directly to a goal, is my commercial drone license.
Cool.
So maybe we'll use some footage from that when I can actually put it on something that might get monetized in the future.
Cool.
And beyond that, just making sure I keep my kids safe and, lights on and
yeah,
family fed. That's really it. I do plan to try. I've got to implement a new diet. My diabetes is a little bit higher than it should, so I got to get that under control.
Hey, talk to Rebecca. Rebecca's knocking that crap out of the park, dude.
Well, at one point in time, I had my A1C down to 5.3 from a very high uncontrolled number.
Yeah.
And then life happened. So just working on getting it down again. And it's carbs, which suck because I love carbs. Yeah. What about you?
The two big things is with me personally is number one, stand on the mat, trying to get on the mat 2 to 3 days a week. Training.
Yeah. For those that don't know, if you try to track Ken down, come after me. He's the one that will kick your ass if you try to track him down. Ken's an instructor in Krav Maga. So.
I'm not teaching anymore. We moved, but
I
am back
right.
I am back on that training again. But I've been talking about it for about a year, seriously, and probably going to go back to school.
Cool.
I just don't know what I want to be when I grow up, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But there's a school. It's an online school, and I got to look into it. Rebecca says it's accredited and it's legit, called American Military University, and they've got a couple of certificates. And I might go grab one or two and do a certificate. Get used to going back to school.
Yeah. Yeah, I did my master's when I did my MBA. I did it online through Western Governors University,
right? Which
is accredited. It's a good school. I have no complaints about that. But yeah, so it is a new year. The other thing that is a goal is for us to keep this show going and to get the schedule going, get the intro.
Well, I didn't want to include that because we're still trying to hammer a schedule out. So until we get that where we're consistent, I'm not going to start it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to.
Well, I think it's safe enough to call it a goal without, like you said, it's not a resolution. It's
fair enough.
And scheduling something, on a weekly basis when we both have very hectic lives can be a challenge. So anyway, got to wrap this up before we hit the 30-minute mark. Want to thank everybody for watching. If you want to share your goals, your take on the what was it? The deck or DAC?
The DAC.
The DAC. The list. Character sheet. Inventory list. Or any other story you want us to talk about or anything else. Leave it in the comments. You can leave it either on Facebook or on YouTube. But we'll invite you to keep an eye out on Sundays. We have, like I said, we haven't got a schedule yet. Keep an eye out on Sundays for a live stream. Watch on Thursdays for a scheduled video to come out. That one will not be political. Promise that. Which will definitely be different words in a different order. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Have a great night.
Night, everybody.